Hi friends, in our last session we have completed with our chapter 1 introduction. Now in today's session we are going to start with our new chapter, that is properties of gas. This is Faizan Kagdi and welcome to the lecture series of basic mechanical engineering. Okay, so the topics which we are going to see today, which are included in properties of gases, first question comes in our mind: how gas differs from vapor. Okay, so let's see that. Okay, so let's understand it. Now taking an example of vapor, we can relate water vapor, right? That is steam. So what is the boiling point of water vapor? So we would say, we know that is 100 degrees Celsius is a boiling point of water at a pressure of 1 bar. And in case of gas, we can take an example of, let's say, oxygen gas. So what is the boiling point of oxygen gas? So it is minus 182 degree Celsius. So the first on the spot difference comes is that in case of water vapor, the evaporation from its liquid state is incomplete, whereas in case of gas, the evaporation of a gas from its liquid state is complete. So how we can understand this? So we can take an example that when water is heated, so gradually its temperature is going to increase, likewise its volume is going to increase, its enthalpy is going to increase up to its boiling temperature, that is 100 degrees Celsius temperature. But even at 100 degrees Celsius, water still remains in its liquid state, and gradually when further heat energy is supplied, that is called a latent heat, that is going to change its phase from its liquid state to a vapor state. But this phase change is not sudden. At its 100 degrees Celsius temperature, it still remains in a liquid state and gradually a vapor formation takes place. Whereas in case of an oxygen gas or any gas, as we have taken a case of an oxygen, so the boiling point is minus 182 degrees Celsius. So when an oxygen is in a liquid state, that is below minus 182 degrees Celsius, that is minus 183 degrees Celsius or minus 200 degrees Celsius, in that case we would have a liquid oxygen. Okay, so as soon as the liquid oxygen reaches its boiling temperature of minus 182 degrees Celsius, the liquid oxygen will directly get converted into a gaseous state without forming an intermediate state. Whereas in case of water vapor, an intermediate state, that is a liquid and a vapor mixture, is obtained even at its boiling temperature, indicating a wet steam, that is a steam having a moisture content. So we can say that in case of vapor, its evaporation is always incomplete from its liquid state, whereas in case of a gas, its evaporation is complete. Okay, so example of gases you can see on your screen, it's carbon dioxide, nitrogen, oxygen and several gases. So all has a complete evaporation from its liquid state. Now let's see our next point, that is in case of vapor, condensation at moderate temperature and pressure can take place, whereas in case of gas, condensation at moderate temperature and pressure is not possible. So moderate temperature and pressure is basically STP condition, standard temperature and pressure condition. So the example is very obvious, that when we keep steam for a longer period of time in a surrounding, then what is going to happen? Then that steam will get condensed because of a heat transfer between a system and a surrounding, and finally it will reach its liquid state, that is condensation is possible. Whereas in case of gas, take a simple example of air. Is the condensation of air possible at STP condition? No. Similarly, in the case of an oxygen, if we need to condense oxygen, that is need to convert it into its liquid state, then what we need to do? We need to refrigerate it. Yes, we need to cool down up below its boiling temperature, that is the boiling temperature of oxygen is minus 182 degrees Celsius. In that case only we can obtain a liquid oxygen, right, which indicates that a condensation of a gas, okay, is not possible at STP condition. Similarly, taking an example of a nitrogen. Nitrogen gas has a boiling temperature of minus 212 degrees Celsius, which means if we need to liquidize nitrogen, we need to cool down it below its boiling temperature. Similarly, carbon dioxide, direct sublimation of carbon dioxide takes place at minus 44 degrees Celsius. So this applies directly on a gases, that is condensation of a gas is not possible, okay, at moderate pressure and temperature. Okay, taking the next example, taking the next case, that is vapor cannot follow gas laws. For example, Boyle's law, Charles law and Gay-Lussac's law are not applicable on steam, that is water vapor. Why? Because it has incomplete evaporation. Okay, whereas gas laws such as Boyle's law, Charles law and Gay-Lussac's law are applicable on several gases. Okay, so these are the main difference between vapor and gas which we need to keep in mind. Now let's see our next topic, that is perfect gas and real gas. That is, what is perfect gas and what is real gas. So let's begin. So a gas which obeys Boyle's law, Charles law and Gay-Lussac's law under all conditions of pressure and temperature, then such gas is called a perfect gas. But taking a simple case, in case of a Boyle's law, it is required to maintain a constant temperature. Okay. In case of a Charles law, it is required to maintain a constant pressure. Okay. Whereas in case of a Gay-Lussac's law, it is required to maintain constant volume. But we know in actual practice, pressure, volume and temperature, all the three parameters changes simultaneously. Okay, so when we try to maintain constant temperature, then definitely the remaining two parameters, that is volume and pressure, are going to change. Similarly, when we try to maintain constant pressure, the other two parameters, that is temperature and volume, are going to change. And when we try to maintain a constant volume, temperature and pressure will change. Okay, so in actual practice, a gas cannot obey all the three laws simultaneously. But we have certain gases which can obey either of the laws. That is, a certain condition of constant temperature can be maintained in which other two parameters are going to change, but under that condition we can maintain a constant temperature, which means that a gas can obey a Boyle's law. But it is not necessary that that particular gas will obey Charles' law and Gay-Lussac's law. Similarly, we can prevail certain condition in which we can maintain constant pressure. Okay, so particular gas can obey a Charles law at that moment of time. At a particular condition, we can maintain constant volume. So that particular gas can obey Gay-Lussac's law. But the remaining two laws cannot be obeyed by the gas at the same time. Okay, so such gases in which either of the gas laws are applicable are considered to be nearer to perfect gas. And such gases are called real gases. So the example of real gases are air, carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen and hydrogen. So I hope that you all are clear with what is the main difference between a perfect gas and a real gas. So perfect gas is a hypothetical condition. Okay, it's an imaginary concept. Whereas the real gas are the one which can obey either of the laws under certain specific condition of pressure and temperature. Okay, so now let's see our next topic, that is various gas laws. So the gas laws which we need to study are Boyle's law, Charles law, Gay-Lussac's law. Now the basics of these laws you have already studied in your 11th and 12th standard, right? Now in this chapter we are going to apply these laws on our closed system, specifically piston and cylinder arrangement, and we will see that how we can achieve a particular law, that is under which condition a Boyle's law can be achieved, under which condition a Charles law can be achieved, similarly under which conditions the Gay-Lussac's law can be achieved. So let's begin with our first law, that is Boyle's law. Now Boyle's law states that for a given mass of a perfect gas at constant temperature, the volume of gas is inversely proportional to its absolute pressure. That is, according to this law, V is proportional to 1 by P. Okay, so on your screen you can see I have shown a diagram of a piston cylinder arrangement indicating state 1 and state 2. In this case we are going to do a compression of a gas. Okay, so we are going to apply force on a piston. So you can see in state 1 on the top side of a piston, a force is applied on a piston and it undergoes a compression of a gas, and in the second diagram you can see that a displacement of a piston has achieved and a volume is decreased, its pressure is increased. So it indicates that if a volume is reduced by half, then its pressure will be doubled in its final state, as you can see, an example is shown that if at its initial state its volume is 1 liter and its pressure P1 is 100 mm of Hg, then in its final state its volume will become 0.5 meter cube, whereas the pressure will be double, that is 200 mm Hg. Okay, so according to this, removing a proportionality constant, we can obtain an equation PV is equal to C. Now we can say that we can apply this Boyle's law, PV is equal to constant at state 1 and at state 2 conditions. Right. So at state 1, the equation will become P1 V1 is equal to constant. At state 2, equation will become P2 V2 is equal to constant. So from these two equations we can write that P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. And similarly we can plot this on a PV diagram, pressure versus volume diagram. So state 1 is indicated on a downward side, representing a higher volume and lower pressure, and when it is compressed, so it is going to form a hyperbolic curve reaching its final state 2, where a volume is decreased whereas its pressure is increased, as you can see on your screen. Now the question comes that in which condition the Boyle's law is applicable, or how we can achieve Boyle's law. So we would say that for achieving a constant temperature, it is required to push the piston at a much slower rate so that the gas inside a piston gets a time to reject its heat energy to the surrounding. Otherwise, what will happen if I suddenly push a piston in a downward direction? Okay, so we know that according to our first law, internal energy will increase, and if internal energy increases, indicating that there is a change in temperature, which means at a final state the temperature is definitely going to increase, but our target is what? Our target is to maintain constant temperature. So for maintaining constant temperature, whenever you push a piston in a downward direction, you must give a time to a gas that whatever increment in temperature takes place because of a downward motion of a piston, it should be rejected to the surrounding atmosphere, so that when it comes to its final state, the temperature remains constant, that is initial temperature is equal to final temperature. So this is a condition, remember this condition, that is the piston should be pushed at a much slower rate so that the gas gets a time to reject its heat energy to the surrounding atmosphere. Then and then only we can achieve Boyle's law and a compression of a gas according to Boyle's law. Now let's see our next topic, that is Charle's law. So let's begin with Charle's law. Now, according to Charles, if a given mass of a perfect gas is heated at constant pressure, then whatever is a change in a volume is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. So the absolute temperature is a Kelvin scale. Okay, and whatever change in a volume is because of a change in temperature. Okay, so according to this statement, the equation, proportionality equation, can be written as V is proportional to T. Removing the proportionality constant, we can say V is equal to CT, and finally V1 by T1 is equal to C. Now you can see on your screen, I have again shown a piston cylinder arrangement. Okay, state 1 representing initial state and state 2 representing final state, in which a piston has moved in a upward direction. Okay, so now how we can achieve constant pressure, that is Charle's law. As we know that whenever a heat energy is supplied to a gas, its pressure along with the volume will definitely going to increase, right, when it reaches its final state. So this can be done when we supply heat energy intermittently, and second thing, whatever increment in a pressure of a gas takes place, that pressure is completely exerted on a piston by a gas, so that at a final state we can achieve a constant pressure. So in this condition only we can achieve a constant pressure. Now applying our Charle's law at state 1, we can write by its statement V1 by T1 is equal to C. Similarly at state 2, we can write V2 by T2 is equal to constant. So from state 1 and state 2, we can conclude that V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Now plotting this Charle's law on our pressure versus volume diagram. So as we know that the pressure is remaining constant and when heat energy is supplied, its volume is going to increase from its initial state to a final state. Along with that, temperature is also going to increase. So on a PV diagram, it is represented by a horizontal line. Similarly, I have shown a volume versus temperature graph, in which, as we know, that change in volume is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. So for example, that initial volume at state 1 is V1 is equal to 1 meter cube, and initial temperature T1 is 300 Kelvin. So if volume is increased, let's say by double, that is V2 becomes 2 meter cube, then at that time temperature will also be double, that is T2 will become 600 Kelvin. So the graph or a relation between both of them will be a linear, so it is represented by this linear line. Okay, so now let's see our next topic, that is Gay-Lussac's law. Now, according to Gay-Lussac's law, for a given mass of a perfect gas at constant volume, which means our target is to maintain constant volume, so the remaining two parameters, pressure and temperature, will change. So whatever change in a pressure takes place is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. So from this statement, the proportionality equation can be written as P is proportional to T. Removing a proportionality constant, it is going to become P by T is equal to C. Now, as you can see on your screen, I have shown again two diagrams, piston cylinder arrangement. Okay, state 1 representing state 1 and state 2. Now, in order to maintain constant volume, we are going to place stopper on a piston, on top side of a piston, so that the displacement of a piston does not take place. We don't require to move a piston, remember, in order to maintain constant volume of a gas. Now, after doing this, for maintaining constant volume, after doing this, we are supplying heat energy. Okay, so what is going to happen? So definitely the pressure of a gas is going to be increased, and that gas will try to push a piston in upward direction. But we know that we have placed a stopper which is not going to allow a piston to move, which means volume will be confined, volume will be fixed. But whatever there is a change in a pressure is because of what? Because of heat supplement and because of changing temperature. So even at a final state, the volume is going to remain same. Okay, so by doing this, that is by applying a stopper or by restricting a piston to move, we can maintain a constant volume, and in that case, whatever change in the pressure is directly proportional to a temperature. For example, initial temperature T1 is 200 Kelvin and pressure is 1 atmosphere. Then at the final state, the temperature will be 400 Kelvin, that is T2, and P2 will become 2 atmosphere. Okay, so this is a proportionality relationship. I have shown a pressure versus volume diagram on your screen. As you can see, it is represented by vertical line. Vertical line indicates that the volume is going to remain constant, but the pressure is going to increase. And I have similarly shown a pressure versus temperature diagram. So as we know that the relationship is linear between pressure and temperature. If a pressure is doubled and temperature is also doubled, so PT diagram, pressure versus temperature diagram, will be a linear one represented by this line. Okay, so I hope guys that you are clear with all the three laws, that is Boyle's law, Charle's law and Gay-Lussac's law. Along with that, what is the main difference between vapor and gas, and what is perfect gas and real gases. Now today we are keeping up till here. In our next lecture, we will be discussing about specific heat capacity at constant pressure, that is CP, and what is CV, specific heat capacity at constant volume, and a relationship between both of them. Till then, stay tuned and thank you all.